Ele era baixo e não muito simpático. Magro e batalhador, não teve formação escolar completa e se recusava a fazer o que não queria. Sua voz era apenas razoável. A música que ele cantava desafiava a disciplina, mas com essa música ele agitou o mundo. Antes de sua breve vida chegar ao fim, Robert Nesta Marley atuou como protagonista no nascimento e renascimento de um país desrespeitado. E revolveu um apimentado caldo social que suas músicas mantinham em efervescência, onde quer que fossem ouvidas. Nunca existira algo com um nome tão impróprio como o Festival Sorria Jamaica, realizado em Kingston, Jamaica, em julho de 1976. O astro principal, o músico, cantor e compositor reverenciado internacionalmente Bob Marley, apresentou-se sentindo dores excruciantes. Ele havia levado tiros no peito e no braço apenas alguns dias antes de homens que tentaram matar a ele e a sua família. Mas Bob compareceu porque o partido político que governava o país havia implorado para que ele viesse. Sua missão era refrescar uma Jamaica em chamas para o primeiro-ministro Michael Manley. A ilha vivia um período anárquico, enquanto os partidos rivais e as eleições vindouras contrastavam com armas, tumultos e saques. Os arruaceiros que dias antes tentaram matar Marley e sua família eram chantagistas que se alimentavam do caos. Enquanto 80 mil pessoas lotavam o National Hero Circle em Kingston, um valente Marley realizava sua heróica apresentação de 90 minutos que encantou a cidade. O resultado foi um pequeno milagre. Em menos de 2 horas, Bob Marley transformara uma multidão explosiva em um público alegre, com boas energias fluindo por todos os lados, até mesmo entre os políticos. Que tipo de vida havia formado o primeiro herói mundial jamaicano e a fantástica música que ele criava?
There was a new view of Jamaica. And that was the genius of Bob Marley during this period, something that had to do with just general interpretations of justice, general interpretations of the respect for human rights and the dignity of peoples. And that was, I think, one of just the signal aspects of Bob's magic and his incredible ability to really reach out and to personify what society was really thinking about, wrestling with.
In India, some people I'm sure don't know Elvis Presley, they don't know the Beatles, but Bob Marley's played. Bob Marley's played in Africa, Bob Marley's played in Cambodia, he's played everywhere. And so people look to Jamaica.
Entender a Jamaica, onde ele nasceu em 6 de fevereiro de 1945, é entender Bob Marley. A bela ilha caribenha não oferecia nada aos descendentes dos escravos que haviam sido trazidos para trabalhar nas plantações de cana-de-açúcar. A escravidão terminara, mas os colonizadores britânicos permaneciam apoiados em uma ampla classe baixa. Ter pais de raças diferentes como Bob tinha não era raro, mas a mistura de classes entre eles, sim. Sua mãe, Cedília, pobre e negra, teve Bob com Norval Marley, um administrador britânico branco muito mais velho do que ela. Norval se casou com Cedília para legitimar o filho antes de ir embora. O jovem Bob comprovou ser muito inteligente enquanto frequentou escolas públicas, mas era quieto e normalmente mal-humorado. E tinha razões para tanto.
In Kingston, in the ghetto, you were separated from everybody. The government didn't want to know you, the middle classes didn't want to know you, nobody wanted to know you, you were a complete outsider. And Jamaica has the legend, out of many one, and unfortunately that was completely opposite to the truth, because out of many were many. And the darker skinned you were, the lower down in the social pecking order you're going to be.
Mas o que Bob sempre teve enquanto vivia em Kingston foi a música. Ela estava em todas as partes e invariavelmente em estado de transformação por conta do alegre embalo rítmico da Jamaica.
There was an indigenous form of music called mento, which is similar to calypso. Calypso was also popular from Trinidad. There was a merengue from Haiti, which was also popular and played in the early sound systems, which was grown in the 50s. So there's huge varieties of music.
A atividade chamada de sound system era o coração da indústria musical jamaicana. Em um país de poucas rádios e ainda menos estações de retransmissão, disc jockeys e empreendedores montavam alto-falantes improvisados sobre caminhões e passeavam pela ilha retransmitindo produções musicais por uma taxa de admissão. Para jovens esperançosos como Marley, era a única forma de mostrar sua música. Clement Seymour Dodd, chamado de Sir Coxsone Downbeat, comandava o negócio. Era uma honra fazer um disco com ele por alguns dólares para ter tocado para públicos de toda a Jamaica. O jovem Bob Marley então usou a voz de cantor que herdou da mãe para se unir a esse exército esfarrapado de vendedores de músicas.
It was a music machine. All the artists were employed as day rate labourers. They got no royalties. They paid a wage to sing this song. So Bob would sing What's New Pussycat. Bob would sing Amen. Bob would sing This Train. He'd be singing spirituals. He'd be singing English pop songs, American pop songs. He wasn't the world's best singer. He wasn't massively talented at music, but he had a huge passion for it. And he learned from all those around him. Wherever he went, he absorbed, he practiced, he learned.
Norville Bunny Livingstone e Peter McIntosh eram dois amigos de Bob na época e acabaram se tornando importantes colaboradores nessa fase de sua vida. Os três participavam de shows de talentos transmitidos nas duas estações de rádio da Jamaica. O som preferido era uma mistura de mento e rhythm and blues, chamada ska, estilo musical de 12 compassos com acentuação melódica na segunda e na quarta batida. Marley logo começou a rabiscar letras para o novo ritmo em materiais improvisados como papel de açougue. Dodd, na época, já produzia discos gravados em um estúdio chamado Coxsone's Music City. Bob e Bunny Livingstone pagaram 3 libras por um disco demonstração com 2 músicas, Judge Not e Do You Still Love Me. Coxsone então produziu o formato a ser lançado. Pagou 20 libras e deu a ele 2 LPs gravados. Bob ficaria ainda mais feliz se conhecesse alguém que tivesse uma vitrola. Mas Bob Marley, cantor e compositor, já podia exibir seu primeiro produto no ramo musical. O garoto pobre de um país pobre já estava a caminho de um futuro além de qualquer imaginação, exceto a sua. Para os fãs que o idolatravam nos anos 70, o fenômeno Bob Marley pareceu ter chegado ao superestrelato vindo do nada. Observando com mais atenção, no entanto, eles veriam uma jornada desgastante, repleta de agonia e golpes de sorte. Um desses golpes de sorte se chamava Joe Higgs. Ele conheceu Bob no início dos anos 60. Higgs era um talentoso cantor e compositor na favela de Kingston, conhecida como Trench Town. Ele criou uma clínica de música gratuita frequentada por Marley, Bunny Livingstone e Peter McIntosh, já conhecido como Tosh. Joe insistia para que eles escrevessem sua própria música e fizessem apresentações de qualidade. Higgs ficou particularmente interessado pela força interior da voz em evolução de Marley e pelo fato de ele chamar a atenção sem a necessidade de gritar e pular no palco. O jovem grupo escolheu o nome Wailing Wailers, uma referência à triste origem dos três.
He was teaching Bob things about the guitar, and Bob was very serious. That's one of the things that came through right through his life. Bob was very serious from the very beginning, very dedicated, as if he had a sense of mission. And he was there struggling with this guitar, sitting on the kitchen floor, learning chords and so on, until the wee hours of the morning. He just passed out right there on the floor with the guitar in his hand.
Logo, Marley e os Wailers, com acompanhantes que sempre mudavam, começaram a subir na cadeia musical de Trench Town. Eles estavam no raio de ação de Coxsone Dodd, que se tornou o empresário do grupo, obteve o direito exclusivo de lançar seus discos e lhes pagava impressionantes $20 por lado gravado. Dodd chegou a dar aos três um adiantamento para que comprassem ternos dourados de cetim usados nas apresentações. Quando a Jamaica ganhou sua independência da Grã-Bretanha em 1962, os Wailers já tinham destaque na cena musical da ilha. Marley se tornaram um herói local e as garotas da região passaram a notá-lo.
You're at First Street. This is where Bob Marley used to be. before he came out so big and established. This is the yard where he used to sit and write his music. This is where he used to sit with Georgie and Tata. Yes, this is where he really originated from.
A bela Rita Anderson, filha de um carpinteiro, era uma boa musicista e mãe solteira. Ela gostava do genioso e atraente Bob Marley e sempre estava perto dele. Eles se tornaram bons amigos e em 1966, marido e mulher. A impressionante série de filhos de Bob, cerca de 22, dentro e fora do casamento, caracterizaria o que seria uma longa e incrivelmente tolerante união. Logo, Marley começou a notar mudanças sinistras na Jamaica, tanto na atitude do povo quanto na música. As letras e a energia das canções de mais sucesso já não eram tão leves e doces, soando como hinos sombrios da classe baixa de Kingston. Havia uma repressão oficial a essa música, batizada de Rude Boy. Mas ela vendia muito e Bob se sentia cada vez mais atraído pelo estilo. Os Wailers pegariam essa onda. Boa parte da atitude Rude Boy derivava da crescente ligação dos jamaicanos com o movimento Rasta, uma religião peculiar da ilha. Os Rastafaris reverenciavam o imperador Haile Selassie da Etiópia, também chamado de Rastafári, como um deus vivo que levaria os negros oprimidos de volta à sua terra na África. Marley se aproximou da religião lentamente, mas não a deixou mais.
It was a very powerful religion in that way because it spoke of black people, because in Ethiopian Coptic art, all the stories from the Bible feature black people.
Bob acabou se unindo aos irmãos Rastafaris, considerando a maconha a erva da sabedoria que crescia no túmulo de Salomão e citando passagens bíblicas que estimulavam barbas e cabelos não aparados. Os homens Rastafaris usavam barbas irregulares e tranças chamadas de dreadlocks. Marley adotou o visual, a erva, o movimento e todos os seus poderosos dogmas, especialmente sua música característica chamada reggae, um estilo que Bob iria transformar.
Reggae music is a music created by Rasta people, and it carry earth force.
The reggae that was influenced by the Rastafari movement actually had political and cultural components that were teaching us something, that were giving us a sense of identity and history and connectedness and saying something positive about our experience. It was defining us.
Tratava-se basicamente de um padrão incansável, de 2 acordes com a pulsação do baixo e a incisiva bateria. Tudo acontecia sem pressa e a música enviava a mensagem de que Bob Marley estava pronto para enfrentar uma longa jornada em busca de seus sonhos. Em 1967, ele tentou ganhar mais espaço assinando com a GAD Records, uma empresa formada pelo popular cantor americano Johnny Nash e pelo empresário Danny Sims. Nash fez Bob acelerar o ritmo de suas músicas. As obras perderam a ginástica de agudos e se tornaram mais impulsivas e críticas. Os Wailers trabalhavam com frequência e Bob ganhou bastante para comprar um novo carro e decidir tentar a sorte na Europa com a GAD. Ele teria literalmente e no sentido figurado uma fria recepção. Bob Marley aterrissou na Europa em 1971 e descobriu que o velho mundo seria um lugar difícil para ele e os Wailers. O grupo seguiu para Londres pela GAD após uma apresentação na Suécia ter sido cancelada.
JAD Records were hoping to also launch Bob Marley, and he came to London, but he only played in very small clubs. Very few people ever went to see him. Lived in cheap parts of London and just hung with the quite large Jamaican immigrant population that was there at the time.
As coisas pioraram ainda mais quando Bob acordou certa manhã em Londres e descobriu que Nash e Sims haviam voltado para casa sem ele, deixando os Wailers presos e sem dinheiro na fria Inglaterra. O clima torturava Marley.
The weather was totally, opposite to what they were used to. And touring in the winter was no fun, I guess. Even to this day, it's not really much fun. But especially for them, coming from Jamaican climate where it was always hot and, didn't have to freeze on the way to a gig, during the gig and after the gig.
Bob, desesperado, lembrou-se de Chris Blackwell, um empreendedor anglo-jamaicano que gerenciava a Island Records em Londres e já financiara discos dos Wailers. Por sorte, Blackwell, na época, estava começando a sentir o poder do ritmo jamaicano no Reino Unido, tanto nas casas noturnas quanto nas caixas registradoras. Nos Wailers de Marley, ele via um grupo badalado capaz de impulsionar o novo som. Sobretudo com os reforços que Bob conseguira, que incluíam Aston Family Man Barrett, um músico dinâmico, mago dos estúdios de gravação.
In Jamaica, in the late 60s, the music bring us together. Bob hear about my kind of bass playing. You know, hear of a bass man called Family Man. So Bob walk over to me and say, "You mean this youth here? Is in them called Family Man, who play all of those wicked bass line what I've been hearing?" I say, "Yes." So Bob said to me, "Then if it's really you play all of those bass line, you're the right man then." So I am teaching Bob to play the guitar more, teaching him more chords. As him always said in one of his interviews, he could play the guitar much better, but Family Man won't show him any more chords. You know, I tune his guitar. I am the last man touch his guitar before we hit the stage every night. Well, anyway, they make a deal like for a 3-album deal. So Bob is gonna sing lead and play the rhythm guitar. Bunny gonna sing harmony. Peter gonna sing harmony and play lead guitar. My brother on drum, Earl Linda on keyboard, and I on bass. So that's the 6 of us.
Bob Marley went back to Jamaica in late 1972 and set about creating what became Catch a Fire. Some of the music was already pre-existing and some of it sort of recycled in a simple manner. This was delivered to Chris Blackwell in early 1973. The album was famously packaged in a cardboard replica of a Zippo lighter. So it was a tactile, interesting object which got it talked about.
O disco também vendeu muito bem e preparou o terreno para o passo seguinte de Bob Marley nos campos minados da música mundial. Apesar de toda a badalação em torno de Marley após o bem-sucedido lançamento de Catch a Fire, sua banda encontrou dificuldades tanto em casa quanto no exterior. Um de seus problemas era a percepção negativa da imagem rastafári de Marley. Muitos produtores e boa parte do público achavam que a violência das ruas na época já era ruim o bastante sem os arruaceiros com dreadlocks para alimentá-la.
Rastaman was always seen as the lowest of the lows. You know, there's stories of where, for instance, at one point a Rastaman went into one of the top hotels in Jamaica and went into the pool, and then they immediately drained the pool.
Change, once it's being talked about, once it's being broached in any society, generally is looked at with great suspicion. And Bob Marley, as he came on the scene, as he attempted to influence the Jamaican reality, was obviously the full target and focus of that kind of suspicion.
Mas em Londres, Chris Blackwell ainda conseguiu marcar um show para os Wailers no elegante clube noturno Speakeasy, epicentro da música britânica. Era uma incrível oportunidade e Marley a aproveitou muito bem.
It was a big occasion, big event, because it was the first time a black act had played in the Speakeasy Club, because the Speakeasy Club was the bastion of the white rock world. It's where the Rod Stewarts and the Elton Johns and all those would go and hang out and, you know, do little impromptu gigs and stuff like that. So I think the record company, Island Records, which was owned by Chris Blackwell, I think he saw it as a way of them breaking into that circle. And I do remember the nights when they played, I was there, and it was full of all, you know, all the rock fraternity, and they were just completely astounded by this black man jumping around the stage and, you know, and performing like a rock star.
And after that, they write up in the paper, say that the first song we play it cast a spell upon them, and after that, it was like magic.
O sopro de sucesso ainda não havia trazido recompensas fabulosas, mas era um bom sinal. Bom demais para alguns membros da banda. Logo, o grupo original de Bob Marley, que permanecera unido diante de tantos reveses, começaria a se separar. Estava errado quem achava que os Wailers sempre haviam aceitado tranquilamente Bob Marley como líder do grupo. Tanto Bunny Livingston quanto Peter Tosh eram artistas sensíveis e voláteis, sempre incomodados com a ideia de que Bob, ou qualquer outro, fosse mais importante do que eles. Então, confiantes de que tinham a mesma voz e o encanto pessoal de Bob Marley, se não mais, eles começaram a se afastar.
And at the ending of that first year, 72, that's when Bunny Livingston quit the group. I was surprised. I said, how can you get such a deal, 3-album deal, and lease your label for 15 years and quit? And at the ending of 73, Peter Tosh quit also. So Bob said to me, what are we going to do now? It's only 3 of us leave. I said, 3 of us can make it work. As the power of the Trinity. You know?
Desde o início dos Wailers, qualquer designação de liderança havia sido deixada de fora do nome da banda. Mas com a saída de Bunny e Tosh, o óbvio prevaleceu no novo título, Bob Marley e os Wailers.
He became a fabulous songwriter, and it was his medium for communicating. So although he wasn't musically talented in the way that many people think of as a musician like Stevie Winwood or Stevie Wonder, he had an enormous desire to communicate with people about his experience and his beliefs.
E de repente a banda de Marley, que sempre lutara para conseguir trabalhos significativos, começou a se ver no centro da demanda mundial em razão de seus talentos cada vez mais óbvios.
We are working on that album called Natty Dread. A lady came down from Woodstock called Martha Valley. So she's doing an album called Escape Out of Babylon. And we are to produce the album for her. So we stop our project and record the album for her, overdub, mix it, so she could get it to go back to the USA. So we're back in the studio to finish our album now, Natty Dread. Out of the blue, we get another invitation, come from San Francisco. This was Taj Mahal. He's working on an album called More Roots, and said he hear of us and he like our sound and he want to make a cover version of one of our song called Slave Driver, and he want us to come up to San Francisco and Berkeley to produce it for him. So we went away again.
E aonde quer que Bob Marley fosse, a semente do som jamaicano era plantada.
There was a big scene in LA at the time about the new concept of music. And when everyone get to find out what the new concept is the drum and the bass. So from that, American music began to mix now with that heavy drum and the bass, to catch the Jamaica dub style.
Mas a experiência não se transformou em dólares americanos. Marley se irritava por não ser capaz de captar a essência artística ou comercial do público dos Estados Unidos.
Could never crack America. Black Americans never liked him during that period because Black America had their revolution in the 60s and they'd now gone up the hill. So for them, it was like, oh man, it's all this, they didn't want anything to do with him really. It was very hard for him at that point.
We did not hear Bob Marley. He wasn't played on our radio stations. He was not visible to us when he first began to come to America. It took time for the message to get through of what this reggae was, what this Rasta was, what this Bob Marley was saying. At that time, we were so miseducated as a people about who we were and what we were about that something from Jamaica or any of the other islands or directly from Africa was considered foreign.
I'm really keen that people develop their view of Bob Marley and realise that, you know, he was at it for a lot of years, and global fame only came when he was about 30, and he didn't actually have many years of global fame.
Então, Inglaterra e Jamaica seriam o palco do crescimento de Bob Marley e dos Wailers. Crescimento que sempre pareceu mais lento e errático que o merecido pelos imensos talentos de Bob. Ele teria de aumentar a pressão e desta vez enfrentaria problemas. Se antes a agressiva imagem rastafári de Bob Marley tinha sido um obstáculo para o sucesso dos Wailers, na tumultuada Londres dos anos 70 ajudaria a catapultá-lo para o estrelato.
In Britain, in the mid-1970s, there had been riots at Notting Hill. The black community, particularly the Jamaican community, that at one time had been quite quiet and I suppose, you know, well behaved. There was a new generation coming through who were not going to put up with the notices that could be seen in London of no blacks, no Irish, no dogs, and they came out fighting. A lot of British wealth was off the back of slavery, so there was big movements happening in British society as well, which is undoubtedly something that helped Bob's popularity. But there was a radical view of change, and that change needed to happen on a global scale.
Nessa atmosfera altamente inflamável, Marley foi contratado pelo Teatro Lyceum para um show em que libertaria todos os demônios de suas músicas e letras rastafari sem se preocupar em ser simpático.
The place was absolutely packed out, jam-packed. And I'll tell you, it was so packed, it was actually raining inside. The steam, the heat from the people rose up to the ceiling of the building and then came down as droplets of rain. It was an incredible sight. There was even people climbing somehow on top of the roof, trying to get in, because everybody wanted to see the mighty, the one and only, the great Bob Marley. When they came out, they knew they had seen and heard the beginning of the new order.
It became one of those concerts that everybody wanted to have been at, everybody claimed to have been at, and the album, a live album which was released very shortly afterwards, really started to notch up some sales which were considerably more than had been achieved previously.
Bob Marley tinha então de encontrar uma forma de lidar com algo que não chegara a ser um problema antes: o sucesso. Após ter feito sucesso na Europa, Bob Marley retornou para seu primeiro amor, a Jamaica. E pela primeira vez sentiu que podia estar em condições de fazer alguma coisa por seu belo, porém arruinado país.
Bob clearly always had roots in Jamaica, and Jamaica was an important place to him. And he went back and wanted to try and help with what was happening in that country.
Bob gave that vibe of anything was possible. And suddenly in Jamaica, you had all these kids from uptown, as they call it, you know, starting growing locks. You see, before Bob Marley came along, it was the most taboo things you could do. But suddenly you see Bob Marley had a house next door to the Prime Minister. So it's okay, yeah, you know, go grow your locks, you know what I'm saying? He had a BMW. You know, one of the first men to have a BMW in Jamaica. You know, it's like, so everybody wanted to have a BMW. But apparently BMW hated it, the fact that, because they said it cheapened their cars.
Bob Marley começou a ter dinheiro de verdade pela primeira vez na vida e não sabia exatamente o que fazer com ele.
He had bought Chris Blackwell's old house at Hope Road, which was a colonial, you know, the uptown colonial part. So here was a Rasta man now living in the uptown part of Kingston, and it was the centre for a lot of Rastas, and you know, a vibe was happening around there.
Bob Marley não tinha interesse em transformar sua nova casa na fortaleza de um milionário. Ela deveria representar aquilo que ele nunca tivera. Receberia não apenas sua família, mas pessoas de um círculo crescente, sócios de negócios, belas modelos, celebridades, qualquer irmão rastafári que encontrasse um canto onde ficar. Mas Bob nunca negligenciou seu trabalho ou deixou de respeitar seus colegas mais próximos.
Between us, it was just the Wailers, you know. It was a team effort. It was like a real band, you know. Everybody did what everybody else did. We all played soccer, we all ate together, we traveled together. To the press and maybe the promotion people, it was Bob and the Wailers. As far as he was concerned, he was just a Wailer, another, part of the chemistry. And I think everyone was equally important in making that, combination of lyrics and music that had that deep foundation and could, be rewarding to so many people.
When we in our musical room discussing, jamming, grooving, getting our heavens together with our spiritual vibes, with little burn offering and things like that, That's how we come up with these strange kind of sound and concept of lyrics, and we put music to it.
Bob would basically maybe have the structure of the song, but not completed. And we would, go in there with our ideas, rehearse, change a few things, come back, rehearse some more, then actually finish up in the studio. And sometimes he'd say, I don't remember writing this song. That's not how it started out, but I like it.
Our plan was to turn Tough Gang into a little Motown. Was to take up all of these other artists off the street who've been mistreated over the years and bring them into Tough Gang and get other bands too and other hacks.
It is said that half of Jamaica was existing off of his generosity. Half of Jamaica. And the half of Jamaica, we're talking about the ghetto half of Jamaica.
Bob wasn't the kind of person who sat down and wrote a contract, and he was more into the brotherly love. We're brethren, we stick together, we trust each other. And that was more that type of philosophy, with Rastafarism and godliness and things that he tried to believe in. He tried to practice also.
Money meant absolutely zero to him. What he did do with the money, which I knew from one of the first times I worked with him on the first tour, he would always, on day offs, he'd always go to sports shops and he would buy like 24 pairs of football boots, 24 footballs, 24 strips, tons of stuff. And he'd be going back to Jamaica, to Trench Town for the kids. That's what the wealth meant for him.
Mas se Bob vivia com ternura, não compunha animado pelo mesmo espírito. Seu disco Burning, de 74, estava repleto de canções celebrando o Black Power, como I Shot the Sheriff, Burning and Looting e a efervescente Get Up, Stand Up. Se a polícia via um culto perigoso se formando e estava sempre disposta a tratar um rastafári com violência, o resto do mundo prestava atenção, até os Estados Unidos. Um agressivo rastafári estava se tornando a figura mais conhecida do terceiro mundo e os líderes da Jamaica não estavam nada felizes. Cada vez mais os rastafaris começaram a entrar na política e não eram muito de conversa quando existia um punho cerrado ou uma arma à disposição. Os partidos políticos combatiam a oposição, o ar de tensão passou a dominar o ambiente e Marley tentou ficar de fora de tudo isso.
I think he realized quite early on that the best thing was to stay away from politics. Politics in Jamaica was and still is a violent and very dangerous business.
Mas a capa de seu novo disco, Uprising, mostrava um homem rastafari com punhos cerrados e erguidos, dreadlocks cobrindo seus ombros como um revolucionário urbano. Se isso não era uma declaração política, o que seria? A casa da Rua Hope já abrigava um público mais arisco e violento. Bob não sabia como controlar essas pessoas. Seus velhos amigos sentiam que ele os deixava de lado. E Bob passou a se envolver com as mais belas mulheres que lá apareciam. O silêncio de Rita quanto às escapadas de Marley era simplesmente esperado. A ascendência de Bob se confirmou de uma vez quando o idolatrado Stevie Wonder concordou em vir à Jamaica para participar de um show com o astro Rastafari. E quando o disco de sucesso dos Wailers, Rastman Vibration, foi lançado meses depois, Marley já superara o Wonder como o principal superastro musical no terceiro mundo. Nesse momento, enquanto o mundo inteiro se abria para ele, Bob cortou o dedo que tinha uma unha encravada em um jogo de futebol entre amigos. O machucado não cicatrizava, mas Marley preferiu não ir ao médico. Acabaria sendo um erro fatal. O que devia ser uma campanha eleitoral na Jamaica de Bob Marley em 1976 acabou sendo pouco mais que um terrível confronto entre bandidos que exigiam fidelidade, poder e dinheiro. Bob Marley não foi poupado. Homens ligados a um dos partidos políticos invadiram sua casa. Chamaram-no de capitalista e o pressionaram a participar de um evento batizado Sorria Jamaica, planejado para distrair o povo, indignado do que estava acontecendo com o governo. Mas Bob ainda tinha outros problemas. Ele vinha seguidamente pagando $2.000 a perigosos chantagistas para acertar uma dívida e eles ficaram furiosos pelo fato de seus shows terem interferido nos pagamentos. Dias depois, homens armados invadiram a casa de Marley a fim de matar todos que estivessem lá dentro. Bob foi atingido no peito e no braço, Rita na cabeça. O assistente Don Taylor foi ferido gravemente por 5 balas. As crianças e os outros escaparam da saraivada de disparos. Em razão da pressão externa ou por uma corajosa indignação, o fato é que Bob Marley, com bandagens e sentindo muitas dores, apareceu no festival Sorria Jamaica sem deixar que seu tormento fosse notado. Por dentro, ele não fazia aquilo pelos políticos, mas por seu país. Logo em seguida, Marley deixou o perigo da Jamaica para dar início à breve fase que consolidaria seu legado internacional e ajudaria a dar a seu amado país e a sua música especial o respeito do restante do mundo.
He was looking for guitarists because when they had the shooting in Jamaica at the end of '76, he had a guitar player, I think, an American by the name of Donald Kingsley. And after the shooting, he must have got totally freaked out and left the band. And they had another guitar player, Al Anderson, before him, who I believe was working with Peter Tosh. So Bob was looking for a guitar player who could play as well as Clapton or anybody else like that, you know. And he was quite happy when he discovered that I could play different styles, ranging from Hendrix to George Benson, you know, to T-Bone Walker. Not only did I have a reggae background, but I had a kind of rock and roll background as well. And I was able to make everything kind of fit rather than stick out like a sore thumb, you know. So he was quite happy that he could get that influence in reggae and people liked it.
1977, it was a big year for Bob. It was the first year that he really got chart success as we would know it now, with top 10 hits. Exodus was a big hit. He was becoming far more mainstream, one of the big acts that anybody would see, which was a huge journey for a boy from the third world.
I joined at the time when it was taken off, you know, because Rastaman Vibration had made it into the American top 10. And Catch a Fire and Burning did pretty well also. And I think Exodus was my favorite and still the favorite of many people. So I came in at a really good point where they were, you know, they had the budget, they had the studio, they had the team behind them, you know, they had a good record company, good tours. It was like non-stop, you know, we were together 24/7, touring around the world, going to Japan, Australia, Europe, United States. It was very exciting. It was a lot of work, but it was very exciting. And being in a band that creating a new form of modern day music made it even more exciting.
Ele tinha se tornado não somente um agente de mudança no mundo colonial, mas seu porta-voz simbólico. Onde houvesse crises ou problemas típicos do terceiro mundo, Bob Marley aparecia e se oferecia para melhorar as coisas. Ele foi ao Zimbábue, a cerimônia que devolveu o país a seu povo depois de anos de submissão colonial.
The ruler of Zimbabwe, the white ruler, had said that never in 1,000 years would things ever change in Zimbabwe. And almost in 1,000 days, it did.
Swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Zimbabwe and observe the laws of Zimbabwe. So help me God.
This was perhaps the crowning moment of his life. To be invited to Africa, the only performer from outside of Zimbabwe to come and to perform and to be the feature performer. This is what his songs were all about. He saw himself as a freedom fighter, and, you know, in my opinion, Bob was a freedom fighter.
O que tornou essas últimas apresentações ainda mais impressionantes foi o fato de Bob Marley saber que estava morrendo. O inofensivo machucado no dedo do pé, que não foi bem tratado, se transformara em um câncer que se espalhou por seu corpo.
It was very sad for us because we were just, you know, kind of like taking off, and everyone was very into what we were doing. Everyone was very excited. Everyone was very focused, and Bob was creating a lot of really good material with the help of the band, and everything was just going for us. You couldn't foresee that happening, and nobody dreamed that it would happen that way, you know, so it was like a shock treatment when we found out that he had like a tumor in his brain and wouldn't be touring much longer, and, you know, what might be called the end.
He was basically on his way to Switzerland for the treatment. And what I remember was really sad was we both sat down together in the apartment and we spoke. But he never spoke in the same positive way that we normally spoke when we spoke to each other. And then eventually he got up and went to a room and came back with all these gold disc and platinum discs and was showing it to me. And I kind of felt somewhere along the line he was kind of saying to me, do you think it was really worth it, Dennis? You know, I think somewhere along the line he wasn't quite sure what it was all about. And then he sat down and he started strumming his guitar. And he played his song, which I never knew what it was at the time. But eventually I found out when he died, he was actually playing Redemption song. And maybe I got a first hearing of it, who knows. Long live Bob Marley.
The doctor came in one day and Bob said to the doctor, tell me the truth, doctor. I want you to tell me the living truth. Am I going to make it? And the doctor looked at him and said, no, you're not going to make it, you know, Bob. And him said, Bob even asked him and said, how many more days I have to live? And the doctor must have told him like 3 or 4 days. And him said, Bob just started to tell everybody to pack up everything. I'm going back to Jamaica.
Ele lutou teimosamente contra a doença por meses a mais do que se acreditava possível. Mas, finalmente, em 11 de maio de 1981, Bob Marley morreu. Tinha apenas 36 anos. Ele foi levado de volta à Jamaica e velado em um gigantesco funeral, recebendo todas as honras que fizera por merecer.
His message was a protest against injustice, a comfort to the oppressed, a search for peace, and a cry for hope.
Infelizmente, a morte de Bob Marley deixou não apenas inspiração e dor, mas uma tristeza especial para o homem que o ajudara a dar forma à sua música e que estivera com ele nas horas mais difíceis. A família formou um círculo de proteção em torno de Marley, deixando-o de fora.
Like his family and other people that moved around him there, they didn't want Carlton Barrett or family man Barrett to be there. Because after a while I get to understand that all the people who was up there, they all went up there to get money. Bob would have hung his head like this in tears. Was crying to see me, and they don't want me to get close.
In this day and age, you have to be legally, you know, accounted for. But we were too busy like having a good time and playing the music and thinking that everything was going to be great. Not everyone thinks like Bob. So we had to live with that afterwards. So here we are, still celebrating the music of Bob Marley and the Wailers and trying to, you know, keep going on.
Apesar de Bob Marley ter deixado a vida terrena cedo demais, 26 anos atrás, a batida exuberante de seu coração persiste. Ouvida todos os dias por milhões de pessoas no ritmo hipnótico dos hinos do reggae que o tornaram imortal.